I've had a ton of people come into my Twitch streams asking for a full settings video. So I have done a settings video on my pitching and hitting. So if you want more in depth on those videos, make sure you check them out there too. We'll go over some fielding stuff and some sound stuff in this video too. So we're going to go over a bunch of stuff, kind of gloss over the hitting and pitching, even though it is very important. So make sure you guys pay attention on that. But without further ado, let's just get right into this. Okay, so we're going to go up to our settings tab. Now, there are 4 different ones. Most specific doesn't really matter for us. We're not even going to pay attention to that. The biggest one is going to be gameplay. We're going to talk, quite a bit into that one. There's going to be a presentation, a little bit of audio and video as well. So first off, let's get into our gameplay. And beautifully, it comes up with our hitting settings. So like I said, I did have a full video on this that goes more in depth. But let's go ahead and talk about these different hitting settings. The difficulty and stuff does not matter because that's what you do when you're grinding offline or whatever. So don't worry about that. The hitting view I have is strike zone. I love strike zone hitting view. I think it's the best one, especially for competitive play. You can see the ball a lot better. So I think you guys should definitely use the strike zone or some variant of it. Now, a lot of people ask me about this one, the in-play view offense. I always have it set to high. So what happens is when you hit the ball, you can the camera goes way up high. And so you got to see if the ball's in a gap a little bit better. I think that's just the best thing in my opinion, and I like it for defense too, which we'll go over in just a second. So in play view offense is one of those things that kind of just if you like it, you like it. Just another added little thing for you guys. Our hitting interface is always going to be zone. We're not going to mess with directional or timing. Zone is the best one for you. We're going to use buttons too. Do not use analog because it's going to be very, very hard for you guys. Just adding another little thing for you guys to be trying to get timing down. We do not want to be adding that. Now, PCI anchor is definitely a feel or touch thing for you guys. Personally, I have it off right now. I haven't really used it a ton. Maybe I will a little bit later, but for right now, I just don't think I really need it, I guess. But it's definitely not a bad thing. You guys, if you want to test it out, test it out. You guys, I think, will like it. There's 9 different dots, and that way, pretty much, you can R3 click, and once you get into there, it'll lock in that position for you, so you can start right there and kind of move your PCI around. So if you guys want to do that, you definitely can. The plate coverage indicator is a huge thing. We want to have that turned on. That's the thing you see that's moving around on the screen when you guys are hitting. Have that turned on. Now, all these other things are definitely just your personal preference. For me personally, I only like to have a center, PCI center for me. I use altitude. I think it's the biggest one out of the diamonds and circles. I kind of like that's a little bit bigger. It gives you a little bit more to aim for. You can definitely do the PCI inner, the PCI outer, whatever you guys want to do for that. The PCI color, again, is another preference. I like to use the violet. I have it 100%, and I do not have the fade out or anything. In conclusion, is all the hitting settings. Again, we have a full video on that if you guys want to check that out too. Now, next, we'll go to the pitching. Again, the pitching difficulty doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. The interface that I use is Pinpoint. Now, I will say Pinpoint is not as good as it was last year, at least to this point. Last year, it was super OP, maybe a little bit too OP. This year, especially on All-Star, it's a crapshoot, man, because what we're doing on BRs, it's a 3-inning game. Your pitcher stamina goes way down, so your control goes way down with it. It's tough. It doesn't matter if you have a perfect pitch. It doesn't feel like it's always going where you're putting it, so kind of stinks. You can definitely use any other one you want to. I highly suggest using Pinpoint because I think that is the best user input. The next best would probably be pure analog and then probably meter after that. But again, we do want to use Pinpoint. For the pitching view, another thing that I like to do is do strike zone. Again, that's just a personal thing. I like seeing the ball come in twice, if that makes sense. So I'm hitting, I can see the ball come in, and then when I'm pitching, I see it come in too. So I kind of see the ball moves, kind of gets my eyes locked in for it. The pitching ball marker, I've set the pitch trail on. That way, it always stays on when I'm pitching, and that you can kind of see the movement of the pitch with it too, and kind of aim it from there. And other than that, all the other things don't really matter, at least for online play. So that is our pitching. Again, we have a full video on that if you want to check that out too. Now let's go to fielding. So you have a throwing interface. I always use button accuracy. That's the thing that you see that kind of like the meter pop up above your fielder when you're about to throw the ball, and it has like the little green thing in the middle. Button accuracy, I think, is the most inputted base. I think the other two kind of leave a little bit of RNG left to them. Button accuracy, I think, is definitely the way to go. Make sure you have that throwing meter on as well. Now, the fielding decision and throwing decision. If you guys are playing offline and you don't want to field, put it on auto and put it on. That way you guys never have to field. You can literally just pitch the ball. Don't worry about anything. And your computer will make all the defensive plays for you. And then make some crazy plays. So highly recommend having it on, especially when you're grinding offline. Our in-play view defense, like I was talking about with the offense, is set to high. Again, it's just nice to see if you can tell if the ball's going to hit a gap and how far it's going to go. Kind of gives you a good indicator of how deep the ball could go too. So I definitely love having the in-play view defense set on high. Definitely want to have throw canceling on. That way you can actually cancel your throw. So say you mess up on like one bag, but you can still go to first to get the out at first. Definitely have that on. That way you can get rid of that bad throw if you do have that turned on. One button dive, I don't have that turned off. The auto infield, auto stuff like that will be perfectly fine. Our catch position indicator, this is another big thing that a lot of people ask me about. So for some reason, it is defaulted to trackball. Don't use trackball. It's like that little blue thing. It just kind of leaves up more of where the ball could go. Definitely use the drifting ball. It has like a full circle of where the ball actually goes, so definitely use drifting ball. Defensive shift. Now this is one that is definitely a preference thing too. I do not like defensive shift personally. I think it gives more hits than it takes, especially when you have a lefty that's a power lefty that's, you know, has a full shift to the right side and they start throwing outside. You can literally just get a little flail hit in the left field to get a double or maybe even a triple sometimes too. So I like to have defensive shift set to manual. It's up to you. Again, it's personal preference. And off the wall ribbon, you can definitely have that on. I don't have it on right now. I guess I'm going to turn it on. I kind of forgot about it, to be frank with you, but it kind of shows you after it bounces off the wall, it shows you where the ball is actually going to go. So definitely a good thing to have in there as well. But those are our full fielding settings for you guys. Now let's go into our presentation. Again, this is more have to do with offline play, but if you're trying to get in and out of a game pretty quick, put fast play on. I always have the pitch selection cameras turned off. No batter walk up. That way if you're playing offline and you're in a game, you can just not worry about having any of your batters walk up there. Rarely have you pitching and stuff too. Just try to get you through in and out of these offline games as quick as possible, at least for me. So these are kind of just some basic settings for presentation. Now let's go into audio and video. Now there isn't a lot with this one either. I have a custom volume preset, so I personally don't like listening to commentators. I don't care about the PA volume. I don't care about the music volume either, and I don't really care about the crowd volume. Now, this is all personal preference. Again, I like hearing the sound effects, though, so I like hearing the bat on the ball. I think it just is a cool thing to have, especially with that perfect. Dude, it sounds so amazing when you have that sound effect turned up pretty well. Now, I have it kind of blaring on my Go XLR, so I can hear it really well. So I don't have it turned up super high, but again, this is another thing that's a personal preference for you guys. If you want to hear the game audio, I highly suggest just having the sound effects volume on. And other than that, everything else is just personal preference. Again, I have it all turned off because I don't really care about it. So that is our audio and video right there. And then lastly, we have a mode specific. Now this kind of goes towards more things offline at Road to the Show and franchise. All of this is up to you guys. I don't really ever play Road to the Show or franchise. So whatever you guys want to do, that's totally up to you. I don't mess with this stuff ever because I don't play offline. But if you're looking for any settings that have to do with Road to the Show or franchise, this is the #1 spot for you guys. Take a look at it, breathe it in, look at it, whatever you guys want to do, it is right there for you. And then lastly, if you ever do change anything, please make sure you apply the changes. Actually, I have a lot of people come to my stream like, hey man, my settings aren't saving. Make sure to do that. And also, one thing I will say, if you're in Diamond Dynasty and you change stuff, it won't save it either. So make sure if you are in Diamond Dynasty, you are like in an actual game changing the settings. If you're in Diamond Dynasty, again, back out. Make sure you get out of it. Go into here. Go up here to settings, do all your settings right here, and just mess with it this way. This is the way it'll actually save for you guys. The other way, it won't save. So make sure you go into here and actually save your settings. So these are all the most important settings for you guys. Again, I have more in-depth videos on pitching and hitting that you guys can go look at as well. But I just want to get this video out there for you because a lot of people have come in, asked me about these settings. And there's a lot of simple settings, but a lot of them make a huge difference for your viewing experience or your playing experience. So make sure you guys check it out. I appreciate you guys watching the video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.